welcome to Football 301. Nate Tice here, joined by Mr. Forverts, Charles McDonald. We're coming to you right after Sunday Night Football. It's time for the late hit. The Kansas City Chiefs, yes, those very same Chiefs, with starting quarterback Patrick Mahomes and head coach Andy Reid and Chris Jones, beat the Lions 30-17. They're now back to 500 at 3-3. Charles, good to see you again. How are you? What'd you think of this game? Chiefs victory going against the Lions team. Offense figuring it out a little bit, it seems like, in Kansas City.
Oh, yeah, that was fun. Like, it's fun when Patrick Mahomes is able to complete passes to his wide receivers, and like they do enough to get open and catch the ball, because you get to see, you can do a lot when 15 is under center and they're healthy and they've got a semblance of like cohesion with their skill grouping. Even Juju Smith-Schuster has turned out to be a player that's given us some valuable reps this season. And Xavier Worthy was back, and they've manufactured a couple nice touches for him. And now the big boy Rashee Rice is coming back next week from his suspension. So, like, you look at this game, you look at the rest of the AFC, like the AFC North, unless Lamar does the unthinkable. That's about to be the Steelers division. The AFC West, I'm sorry, guys. The Chargers are too hurt. And I until Denver beats Kansas City throughout the regular season with Bo Nix, I just can't let myself get there. So it really does feel like it's setting up for another Kansas City year where they can kind of maybe go on a run, because tonight looked like a Super Bowl winning team for sure.
It did. The offense felt right. Even with Josh Simmons, the left tackle out, it's still, this is why they signed Moore, to shore that up. But it's like, you see the reinforcements coming, Xavier Worthy, see Rashard Smith getting some touches, you see the run game getting sorted out. And this is a couple weeks now. Again, they had the Jaguars game last week on Monday Night Football, where they had a 70% success rate. The week before that, they had a nice performance against the Ravens. Week before that, against the Giants, started to kind of get a little warm there, and you could kind of feel it coming together. And we've joked now for almost 2 years, a year and a half. It was like, all right, 3rd and 5, get 5 yards. 2nd and 10, what's a successful play? 5 yards, they get 5 yards. First down, 4 yards. And now they're generating those explosives. It feels explosive again. Even if Kelsey is taking a step back, like, they're figuring out how to use him now, kind of like as a third down machine, more in structure than out of structure. You saw so much side to side stuff from the Chiefs tonight. Both the Hollywood Browns TDs were some side to side stuff, the jet sweep, and then which has a bunch of backfield action. Then you also saw his touchdown was a crosser, and there was just a bunch of stuff that was messing with the Lions linebackers. But why I bring that up is they're winning horizontally, which is creating those explosive plays. Those were horizontal plays that they, the RPOs and bubbles and jet sweeps that they were defaulting to were 3-yard gains. And now it's like they're popping for big plays. And they had Keegan Abdu from Next Gen Stats sent this over to me, but the Chiefs have generated double-digit explosive plays in consecutive weeks. In the previous 20 regular season games, they only had one of those games where they had 10 or more explosive plays. And now they've had it back-to-back weeks. Lions defense, especially the DBs, battered. Alan McNeil didn't play either, so that has to be mentioned. But also, it's better than, all these guys are out, and the Chiefs, 41% success rate and 2 explosive plays. Like, you actually feel this flow of the offense kind of working for them. So like you said, the Rashee Rice is coming back. They're working on third down, early down stuff was working. What did you think about the Chiefs defense? We're thinking that the offense is now, championship caliber, or at least one can go on a run. I think I concur with you. I agree with you there. The defense, how are you feeling about them?
Tonight was an improvement, I think. Just in general how I feel about them, but the Lions offense, they still had a pretty solid night. I think when you're looking at especially in the open field, and before you get to the red zone, they were moving the ball okay. Even Jared Goff first and second down, his numbers were pretty good. 0.37 EPA per dropback on first and second down. He was 19 for 21 on those dropbacks. So there's room to improve, but where we spoke in the preview for this game is, that the offensive line is still susceptible to elite guys kind of getting after him up front. And we did see that tonight. So even when they can get a little, bendy, Chris Jones, when he's not walking, trying to chase Trevor Lawrence across the field, and George Karlaftis are on their game, like that's still going to be a tough defense to stop, because those guys can beat one-on-one blocks. And once you get into that realm, like you can kind of get past people, even if the rest of your defense is a little weak. But man, the cornerback from Cal that they drafted, I think, Noel Williams. I thought he had a couple nice plays on Amon-Ra St. Brown in the slot tonight. So maybe that's something that turns out to develop for them.
Yeah, I know they like him. He's supposed to be a pretty feisty slot guy, and that's been their biggest weakness the last 2 years, is they can't guard the slot with Connor out there. So, yeah, I keep saying this one a couple of weeks ago, kind of laid in on what the Chiefs were, with they felt slow, they felt unoriginal. Now you kind of see a little, I mean, there's still plenty of the staples tonight, but there's a little bit more of like pizzazz to what they were doing, a little bit more speed to what they were doing. So everything you're just kind of hinting at too, it's like that makes total sense. And like even their defense though, okay, we'll just even talking about their defense. Like I kept saying like, oh, Spags will sort it out. He always does, especially after the bye week. It might not be the best defense in the league or top 5, but enough to make a run, especially, getting pressures and stuff. But what you're saying about Chris Jones, it's like he's always been the ace for them. They move him all over the defensive line, to try and get an advantage. And tonight it felt like he just took turns. He was like, all right, one for you, Tate Ratledge, one for you, Graham Glasgow, one for you, Mahogany. Like it was just like he was just taking his turn on each one. Like the box scores, I was even looking like pressure stuff, and I was like, oh, if you just looked at that, you'd be like, oh, he didn't have that big of a game. You watched this game though. He was so incredibly disruptive. And I figure Spags will figure out the DB room, and like you said, Noel Williams and everybody, and McDuffie's still out there. And also just they had been susceptible when they were getting in big boys, when they were in base defense. And tonight it was kind of up and down. Like they went up 6 yards per play when they were in base defense, but maybe had a better success rate than they have been kind of working at, but still it's like 50%. So I still think that's a thing. So I'm curious if they start maybe tweaking to more light bodies, that they get more reinforcements in the DB room, because I think that works better for them. And I mean, that's always Spags' better stuff. Also, the fourth and there's a couple plays I was like, oh, this isn't the Lions night. Well, there was a 4th and 2 they didn't get early. Chris Jones beats Mahogany right away. Glasgow loses right away. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown drops it, which was his first drop of the season. Didn't have a drop all of last year. So it's his first drop in forever. Eric Woodyard from ESPN covers the Lions. Also, he was his first career drop on 4th down. And then the throwback to Jared Goff that gets ruled back for a penalty that for sure the refs on the field did not know, because that was way too big of a delay. So there was a little buzzy to clarify that one. What did you think of that play?
Yeah, I mean, they emphatically said touchdown when he scored, and I was just heartbroken for those Chiefs defensive backs and that Chiefs defensive back. I couldn't tell who it was who got pancaked on the goal line. Yeah, McDuffie got pancaked on the goal line, and then like if you take that picture from the wrong angle, it looks like Jared Goff is kind of dunking on him. It's not right. But honestly, what I'm most concerned about is we have got to fix this thing Jared Goff is doing, where he's spiking the ball at a running back in protection. We have got to change that. That has got to be intentional grounding.
So he doesn't get sacked.
Dude, like David Montgomery is 6 yards deep in the backfield, like trying to block a linebacker, and Goff just throws it at his ass, and that's not intentional grounding. We got to fix that. We got to fix that. You're quitting on the play. You're still in the pocket.
I'm loving it. Sorry, it's just good quarterbacking. That's where my brain goes. It's
change
like, hey,
rule.
Technically, you can do it, which is the best
I know.
way you can do it.
And it's repulsive.
You reminded me of which is actually ties in, because when it happened it's one of my favorite tweets of all time. The Lions were playing the Falcons in 2023, and it was like William McNeil's breakout game, and Jared Goff had a zone read touchdown, and I think a Falcons fan tweeted, and it got a bunch of retweets. It was like, did Jared Goff just zone read our ass? And that's what that like tonight felt like. It was just like Jared Goff dunking on you. I mean, the ball popped up. I actually knew that was a penalty with the under center aspect, because I just like, for some reason, I think that happened to one of my dad's teams back in the day when he was with the Vikings, where they did it and they got flagged. And so I remembered it from then. But also I remember we had a trick play, and I want to say it was actually at Wisconsin. And it was a whole discussion. And then once we realized that you can't do that, kind of like, screw it. We'll just run duo or power for another 5-yard gain and just screw this like gadget stuff. But like, I remember that was a whole thing. It's like, you can't put your hands under, you can't tap, you have to put your hands back. And I was like, well, that just kind of gives it away. So yada, yada. But that was a whole sequence. They had a great drive. That play happened. And then it gets a delay game, and then they make the field goal. And then someone, Jimmy Molina, tweeted at me, he goes, first time in history that the same player got called for illegal motion, then delay of game on back-to-back plays. And I was like, I want to look that up, because it's a pretty good point. I've never thought about that. So that was a pretty good one.
I was one thing I remember real quick about that Lions Falcons game is Calais Campbell like playing true edge in Dean Pease defense and standing up and covering Jahmyr Gibbs in space one play. Luckily, they did not throw him the ball, but still, it was ridiculous.
I remember that.
That defense was awful.
I remember that. It was bad. It was like AJ Terrell just hanging on for dear life every play. No, that was no, I know. Yeah, no. 2023 was Nielsen. So you're thinking 2022?
Oh, 2022. No, okay, yeah. Still, both apply. Like still, it was bad.
Still, same apply, same exact play. No, but I mean,
the Dean Pease year, man. God damn.
The Dean Pease era was brutal. Yeah, they were 32nd and 31st in every metric. I remember that defense.
Just getting stoned about all these sim pressures, ridiculous.
Well, when you know you're going to get a sim pressure every down, and you know it's going to be cover 2 behind it, it gets pretty easy to figure out over time.
With bad pass rushers, it's not a recipe for success.
With nobody winning one-on-ones. Oh, I'm glad we got some Falcons love in here.
Yeah.
No, I really got hats off to the Chiefs. I know the Lions are battered on defense especially, and a little bit on their O-line, but man, I really just thought that this felt like a good Chiefs performance. Last week on offense felt like a good performance outside the interception in the red zone. But just now, this is a couple weeks in a row, really 3 weeks in a row. They're really kind of been, finding their groove. And now Rice comes back. And I keep saying this. I think Rice is a little bit better than people are realizing and remembering. Like, I think he's going to be a huge, huge stick of dynamite in this offense and like be like it. Like people go, oh man, is this guy like a top 10 guy? Like I truly do think that once he comes back, because you're seeing all these Brashard Smith bubbles. Those are going to Rashee Rice. You see all these crossers going to Hollywood Brown. That's going to Rashee Rice. And now Xavier Worthy's finding a nice role. Tyquan Thornton's got his role. Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster's got his role. Okay, now we got some team speed. Brashard Smith can get out there. The running backs are getting going. So yeah, it really does feel like they're finding their way and throwing in some new ideas, throwing in some new spice. Yeah. 3-3, and like you said, I think they're very, very live in this AFC.
Oh yeah, and I mean, hey, this is. I know Rashee has been through a lot, self-inflicted, over the past year, but he hasn't played in a long time at this point. Like going back to early last season. So, like this offense is ready for him to get back. Like it's probably close like 20 games since he's played for them. So it's got to get back.
Including playoffs. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's been over their season. So yeah, and then. Shoot, the old line's get Simmons back out there. I mean, he looked great when I watched back that Jags game. Kings of Suamataia looks so much better. Creed Humphrey was on the podium for me, protector of the year through 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Smith is a good player, and actually Taylor's playing okay. But it's like, again, if that highly paid guy is your worst lineman, you're sitting in a good spot. And they're figuring out how to use Kelsey in this day and age. Like it's just, I feel really good, really, really good about where the Chiefs offense is right now, and Chiefs as a whole. Still not out on the lines. Still think it's a good team. Just ran into a buzzsaw tonight and had some injuries. Chiefs have the Raiders, Commanders. That should be a fun one. Night game. Bills, Broncos, Colts. So we got some good ones coming up for the Chiefs.
Oh, that's good.
And then the Lions for their schedule. They got Bucks next week, Monday night, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles. So got some cool games for both of these teams coming up.